Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Olga is here. For those of you who haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the bell as well to get the latest notifications about the videos I post out there for you guys. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a review of the BH Cosmetics Carli Bybel Deluxe Edition 21 color eyeshadows and highlighter palette. And this is what she looks like. And this is something that is sold exclusively in Ulta. So they came out with this palette for Ulta. This palette retails for $22 US. I couldn't find where it's actually produced. It says that it's distributed in the United States and Germany, but I'm not sure where it's actually made. It doesn't seem to have that information on the back. It does say that the palette is cruelty-free. It says that it's good for 24 months. On Ulta's website, it says that it's 10.0 ounces. But when I look at the actual sleeve of the palette, because this is the palette and it comes in a sleeve like this, on the sleeve it says that it has total weight 1.06 ounces or 30 grams of product. And this is kind of like, to me, a discrepancy. I'm not sure if it's a typo on Ulta website or it's a typo on the actual product. So I couldn't find that it contains 0.6 ounces on the Ulta website. So there is that. What else? It contains 11 original shades and 10 new shades. Ingredients in this palette, I looked at them closely because when I put the eyeshadows on, I started kind of having like a little bit of a reaction, and I wasn't sure if it was just my allergies playing trick with me or if I was allergic to something in the palette. So I looked at the ingredients, and first couple of ingredients do not concern me. Mica, talc, I don't mind those, but it does have ultramarines, and those can be somewhat irritating to the eyes. So for those of you who are allergic to the ultramarines, you might want to pass on this palette. The price point of $22 seems to be pretty good when you look at this palette at first sight. When I was in Ulta and I saw that this is what you are getting for $22, it seemed to me like you are really getting a good deal until I brought it home and started playing with this. I will explain to you why I do not think I would rebuy this or recommend this palette. Well, first of all, I am wearing the eyeshadows, some of the eyeshadows on my eyes. For instance, I used this, let me just show you. I used this one to define my brow bone. Then I went in with this shade as a transition shade. Then I had deepened the crease with this guy right there. Then I had gone in with this guy to deepen my crease and the corner of the eye right here further. And then I went in with this guy for the middle portion of my eyelid. And I also had used this highlighter to tuck into the corners of my eyes. However, as soon as I tucked this in, I became somewhat allergic, a little bit of a watery eye going on, especially on my left side. So I do think that the ultramarines in this palette have something possibly to do with that. These guys right here seem to be bronzers, and maybe they can work as highlighters for warmer skin tones, I mean. And these are, like this highlighter right there is extremely, it's kind of a cool tone. On me, these things don't really present very well. This highlighter on me looks a little bit better, but it seems like they all swatch better with the fingers, and when you try to apply them with a brush, they don't really perform that well, at least on my skin tone. I'm not sure, maybe it works for other skin tones. It just seems to not really do much for me. Now, let's go ahead and do the swatches. So now that you have seen the swatches that I did for the palette, we were first swatching the eyeshadows right here. We swatched all of these guys, and then in the second portion of the swatches we swatched these highlighters and the bronzers right there. And what I can tell you, as you have probably noticed from what the palette looks like, these shadows are somewhat patchy and like chalky. When you try to dip in your brush into the eyeshadow, there doesn't seem to be a lot of kick up. However, it's like pieces of the eyeshadows just sort of crumble away, and when I was swatching, I could see that the crumbly pieces were falling all over my desk right here and kind of creating a mess. And yes, these eyeshadows will blend. However, I wouldn't say that I had the easiest time working with them. When I was blending, I was using my Wayne Goss brushes, my natural hair brushes, and because I do believe that it's just my belief that natural hairs pick up any kind of loose powder eyeshadow better than synthetic. I will be honest with you, I have not played on my eyes with synthetic brush, but I did swatch them with the synthetic brush. But even with the natural hair brush, they do not seem to want to blend very easily. There seems to be a lot of skipping going on. Like on this eye, I could see some skipping, and even though this has been on my eyes just barely 2 hours, I can kind of tell there is some demarcation and skipping going on of the color, even though I blended them, I would say, quite thoroughly. Also, as I was working with them, I was like, oh yeah, they blend nicely. Like for instance, this color, it seems to have been blending at first nicely, but then it sort of blends away. And when I looked down, I noticed that I had tons of it was as if I blended it down here, which is ridiculous. I didn't. I almost definitely was blending upward, and I did not see any fallout during my blending job. So I have no clue how it ended up under my eyes. So I had to use a beauty blender, concealer, powder to try to remove and clean that up. So that to me, speaks that I don't necessarily want to work with these eyeshadows. So I would say, let me just go over key points right here. I would say that unfortunately this BH Cosmetics Carli Bybel Deluxe Edition 21 color eyeshadow palette and highlighter palette is a dud. I do not approve this. It was an impulse buy for me because it was $22 and I'm like, what the heck? So if you are looking at it from that standpoint, that you are only spending $22, if you do not have any allergic reactions to ultramarines ingredients on this palette, then go for it because it is a good price. And if you are willing to work with chalky eyeshadows, or maybe it doesn't bother you and maybe you are really good at blending and you can work with that, by all means. These are just my opinions. I am just kind of sharing with you that this unfortunately didn't work for me, and I actually did want to love it because it is extremely cool packaging. It's kind of reminding me of some kind of a really expensive purse, like those Chanel purses with this kind of business going on, like creases and quilting. I really like that. It seems to be like a really nice girly palette with very nice nude colors in it, but it did not work for me. Another thing, final thing I want to point out here real quick is that I wish this palette, I wish that it had some sort of a black color in it, because it would have been so nice to be able to go in and redefine the crease right here and do some definition with or even have say one of these circles would be black or really dark, much darker than this. Then you would be able to pop it into your upper eyelash line and sort of use that instead of an eyeliner. And you could really complete the look. Right now with all these colors, at least for me, I don't think like I'm wearing a complete eye look. I wish I could go in with other palettes right now and add some stuff on, but I didn't want to do that because we are working on reviewing this palette. We're not reviewing other colors or other palettes. The other thing is, for me personally, there is quite a few here cool tone colors. So this is a cool tone. Down here, this I like. These colors I like as well. The transition color seems to be nice. I mean, if they were not so chalky and if there was like a black shadow right there, I would probably move closer to saying I would want to approve it. Unfortunately, I'm still allergic to it. So with all of that being said, guys, the Carli Bybel is not approved by Olga Guffey. I'm very sorry to disappoint, but it just does not work for me. And if it works for you, that's great. I think that anytime a palette or something comes out on the market, we need to be like very courteous about our opinions, and we can't, you know, I want to give you honest opinion, but at the same time, you will never hear me say things like, you know, trash poop, it sucks, you know. I don't like doing that because I know that somebody was going to work, somebody worked on this, and somebody put a labor and their hours into creating something like this to deliver it to the consumer. So this is an honest review, but it's not going to be ever trashy, you know, because I just don't do that kind of thing. So with all of that said, guys, thank you very much for watching, and please leave me your questions, comments in the section down below. I will do my best to respond to all of your questions or comments. If there is any kind of brand you want me to review or ask me a question about something, I would be more than happy to provide that feedback to you. And I will see you in my next video. I love you. Bye!